Hello again, students. In the previous video lecture, we covered procedural languages. We will now move on to the next category of high-level programming languages, that is, functional programming languages. These are the ones where functions are used as fundamental building blocks of a program. Hence, here functions are the first-class citizens. The design of functional languages is based on mathematical functions. This style of programming mainly emphasizes on the evaluation of expressions rather than the execution of commands. Let's look into an example of high-level functional programming language called Lisp. Lisp. Lisp is also known as List Processing Language. This language was designed in 1958 by John McCarthy of Massachusetts Institute of Technology. Lisp programming language was designed for easy manipulation of data strings. For example, a list of student names consists of data strings. Common features of Lisp include: it is machine independent. It uses iterative design methodology and easy extensibility. It allows updating the programs dynamically. It provides high-level debugging. Now, let's proceed to our last category of high-level languages, that is Object-Oriented Programming language. Object-oriented programming is mainly based on the concept of objects and classes which may contain data in the form of fields, often known as attributes, and code in the form of procedures, often known as methods. Object-oriented programming (OOP) refers to a type of computer programming in which programmers define not only the data type of a data structure but also the types of operations or functions that can be applied to the data structure. The first object-oriented programming language we will study is C++. It directly focuses on objects rather than actions. So C++ is the most popular object-oriented programming language. It is an extension of the C language and has all its features as well. That is why it is called subset of C. It considers everything as an object. The object deals with data and functions which are executed on the data. It is specially used for graphical applications. Now, let's discuss about some other features of C++. Data abstraction. This is a process of hiding background details from the user. It is a technique which relies on the separation of interface from implementation. Let's take a visual example of telephone. The user can see its dial pad, mouthpiece, earpiece, but cannot see its internal components like the circuit board, speaker, microphone, IC integrated circuit, so here background data is hidden from the user. Encapsulation. This is process of wrapping up data and function together into single unit. Like in a capsule, two different medicines are bind together into a single unit. Here, the function used is wrapping, that is used to bind the data, that is medicines, together into a single unit. Inheritance. In this, the object of one class, that is subclass, can inherit, that is acquire the properties of objects of another class, which is called the base class. For example, children inherit some features from parents. Here, parents are base class and children are subclass. Dynamic binding. To understand the dynamic binding, let's first discuss what binding is. It's a process to define or select a method for a particular object of any class. When this method is determined at runtime, then it is called dynamic binding. Let's look at an example. Here, a code is given. A vehicle is equal to new vehicle A. Here, A is a method which has been assigned. Vehicle.run. Here, run is the method applied on the vehicle. That means, what functionality will this vehicle have? A vehicle is equal to new vehicle B. Vehicle.run. Similarly, another declaration of vehicle is done which performs the same function as A in the form of method. As you can see, there are two classes A and B that have the same method run. So, which method is used for new object is determined at runtime. That is why it is called dynamic binding. Polymorphism. It is the ability to use an object in more than one forms. Like, if we create a class animal and any object that has methods speak. Now, this object can be used in different forms for different animals. This is called polymorphism. So, we can conclude C++ has following features: abstraction, encapsulation, dynamic binding, inheritance, polymorphism, deal with object and class. The next object-oriented programming language we will look at is Java. Java is known as the language of the web. It makes the use of www in our routine life possible. It has all the features of C and C++, and it expands its features for network communication. It has number of specifications as it is platform independent. This means the program written in Java can run anywhere on any computer. Python. Python is an interpreted, object-oriented, high-level programming language. It is the latest language in the computer world. Python is a general-purpose programming language created in the late 1980s and named after Monty Python, and has found its usage these days aptly. It is very attractive for rapid application development, which means fast processing by skipping the compilation process. It is used by thousands of people to do things from testing microchips at Intel to empower Instagram and for building video games with the Pygame library. It is an open source language, which means one can alter the source code in applications easily. Means make changes in the programming instructions. Python is also famous for rapid application development. Common features of Python include: it is easy to read, it is easy to maintain, it supports GUI programming, etc. I hope you now have a basic understanding of programming languages. In the next lecture, we shall see the impact of programming in our lives. Thank you.